Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Brussels, welcome to the Egg, and welcome to CESAR Deployment Manager CEF Call 2015 Sneak Preview. And also a warm welcome to the people at home watching us using our live stream connection. My name is Gork, and I will be your host for today, making sure that everything in this event runs smoothly. But what to expect? Well, we have 3 presentations ready for you, provided by 2 experts in their field, the beautiful and skilled Maria Grazia Lapiscopia and Paola Di Giovanni. Let's take a look at what will be happening. First, we will talk about SDM support to CEF Call 2015 responses preparation. The second presentation will be about objectives of the CEF Call 2015. And finally, the last part will be about legal setup of the CESAR Deployment Framework Partnership. But first, I would like you all to hear the words of the most charming man that CESAR Deployment Manager has to offer. Ladies and gentlemen, your warm applause, please, for none other than Massimo Garbini.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen, colleagues, friends. I can call you anytime, in any way I would like to do. I see you, a lot of people present here. For us, it's really an honor, a pleasure. But we consider as a duty for us to share with you, starting really to talk and deploying something concretely. So I will address a very short speech from my point of view, because I believe that the core of the messages we have to send today to you is part of the presentation that both Maria Grazia and Paola will provide to you in a while. Just a small introduction from my side. I would like to say that CESAR Deployment Manager is finally entering in its 8th regime working cycles, I would say. In fact, today, we will focus on the next CEF Call 2015 and the best approach we should have in order to manage and in order to get the best out of that call. But in the meantime, with INEA, we are going to finalize the first grant agreement for the 2014 call, the last one. And for the management of the awarded projects of that call, in order to also to release the pre-financing and the first co-fundings flows for the support of the implementing projects. In the same times, we are already dealing with the evolution of the deployment program 2015 towards the 2016 revisions. In addition, stick to the European Commission request, we are looking to potential possible revisions of the pilot common projects. Transversally, we are analyzing any possible options for an alternative financing mechanism. All these complex activities are managed together with the continuous consultation activities with any kind of stakeholder. So with the activations of the real deployment phase, the 3 pillars of activities of the CESAR deployment managers are now all in place in a continual cycle: planning, consulting, and delivering. The deployment managers is, ladies and gentlemen, 100% up and running. And we want to play a role. We definitely want to play a role. We want to fully achieve our targets. We are strongly committed to provide our services to the European Commission. We are completely devoted to support all implementing partners without distinctions of brand or size, from the smallest to the biggest one. We aim to consult with any relevant stakeholder. But believe me, overall, we are determined to deliver. We don't want to see any blocking factors to the delivery. We are here to deliver. We are industry-driven, and also the fact that for the second time we found a premises that is post-industrial, let me say, architecture, for us is very important to show also visibly that we are really people coming from industry, working with the industries and delivering for the industries. That's, for us, is crucial. But let me be back to the reasons why we are here today. We actually wanted to organize such event to be considered as part of the support that we want to provide to the implementing partners. We are talking from the level 2 to the level 3 of the deployment governance. Actually, we would like to warm you up. We'd like to train you to keep you ready for when the official launch of the call 2015 will happen. But we would like also to share with you our knowledge on the deployment program 2015, which we delivered on the 30th of September, and that's going to be approved by the Commission. But also the findings coming from a really interesting exercise that we called indication of interest that we received by the majority of you, the majority of the operational stakeholders willing to invest in the pilot common projects. We would like also to provide you with early instructions and guidance on how we will work together to set up proposal and to be, again, successful. But before coming to today's subject, I think it's good and probably wise to invest a few minutes of our time to summarize where we stand with the previous campaign, the CEF Transport Call Proposal 2014, which I always want to remember that was launched before the deployment manager was put in place. But we, in the running phase, it has been tasked by the Commission to deal with that anyhow. And I would like to tell that for many ways, the call 2014 has been a dry run for the SSR deployment manager, but also for the DG Move, INEA, and all the other stakeholders. And we learn a lot in order to improve our task, and our performance in the next call 2015 that's going to be launched in a few days. However, I want to report and stress its overall success outcome with a single specific grant agreement, which is now going to be finalized and ready for the signature between me and INEA, and for a total grant amount of roughly 320 million euros, far above the 240 million forecast in the beginning, and to facilitate 84 implementing projects by different 47 implementing partners, all of them joining and extending the partnership. This is a major stepping stone on which the SSR deployment managers, our CEF, has built its approach on the call 2015. But go straight forward to the reasons why we are here. The call 2015, why a sneak preview? I have to learn what sneak means, actually. Warm up, trained, a preview of what is going to happen the next few days. First of all, because whilst the call is not launched yet, we know by the constructions of the SSR deployment governance that the deployment program that we, together with you, delivered will be the technical and the operational specification for the call. So we, the European air traffic management industry, have worked hard on this deployment program to reflect the next steps for the pilot common project implementations in Europe. It is the first time, the very first time that Europe has an air traffic management infrastructure deployment program, a program that I would like always to stress that has been studied, consulted, and agreed by the majority of the stakeholders in the air traffic management industry. A deployment program which represents the basis of a call for proposals, a unique opportunity for all of us. This program will lead ATM investment plans by European air navigation service providers, airlines, and airports, and will provide Europe with a modern infrastructure which will guarantee the development of a safe and efficient continental air transport system in support of our economy and the creations of jobs. Today, the industry is showing its maturity and commitment to delivering this program altogether. The second reason why we wanted to organize this sneak preview is also because the timeline for the call 2015, in which we need to submit proposal, is really very challenging. So the CESAR deployment manager has started to work with you well before the call was launched through the indication of interest exercise. Although informal and without any obligation by you or on you, this has proven to be a very successful exercise, showing awareness and readiness from the whole European ATM industries to invest. This is a very promising signal toward the pilot common project implementation and upcoming modernization of air traffic management in Europe. Third reason, last but absolutely not least reason, is because you are right, you have all the right to have a lot of questions to ask, some of which we have already received, some of which you can use the iPad you have on your table, or even better, to talk to us. So combining our knowledge of the deployment program 2015, early findings from the call for indication of interest we want to share with you, and with your questions, we came to the concept of a sneak preview for the call 2015 as the most efficient, but let me say also the most convivial way to warm up together for the call, which remains expected by the 4th of November. So in 6 days, it's going to be launched. Please, really please, listen carefully to the coming presentations. I know it will be somehow heavy, somehow complicated, but that's what we have to face. So listen to them, because there you will find a lot of clarification, a lot of answers to your questions. You will receive information and on the roadmap, the interactions with the CESAR deployment managers and all the other implementing partners. During the CEF Transport Call for Proposal 2015, we, as coordinator of the CESAR deployment partnership, will be your sole interlocutor, interfacing with INEA and the DG MOVE as needed. During the call period, always keep in mind that the CESAR deployment managers and the candidate implementing partners shall team together. We have to act as a team. So the DM will aggregate all your projects into a comprehensive set of proposals which already prepared for the future coordination, synchronizations, and monitoring in the execution phase of the deployment. The DM will act as the coordinator for this proposal, and as a coordinator, from my point of view, CESAR deployment manager would also submit the proposal to INEA. As coordinator, the deployment manager is also your partners in the proposal. Therefore, we will mainly support you on every step through this process to help you developing the best proposal for your project and answering your questions. I would like to stress that I am aware, all of us, we are aware of the complexities of the bureaucracy that we have to face to present good projects, good proposals, to get the fundings out of the call. But please do not hesitate to look for the support of the deployment manager. We are here. We have been put in place by regulation to support you, the industries, even the less mature subjects, industrial subjects that believe not ready to be able to cope with the difficulties, complexity of these procedures will be helped and supported by us. So please do not hesitate, do not be shy, if I may. Call us, be in contact with us. We want to support you. We are here to support you. And we are here also to ensure ATM is more efficient in the coming years. We want to contribute to maintain high network performance in terms of safety, capacity, environment, and cost efficiency, of course. We can contribute to that through the technological pillar. But in a nutshell, ladies and gentlemen, friends, colleagues, we are here to support European aviation industries and its leadership in the world. And when I say we, I mean ourselves, us, the deployment managers, and you, all the stakeholders, be in industry, be in institution, be representative body, whatever. You are CESAR. You will finalize CESAR deployment. You will be the key of success in the deployment. We cannot substitute single entity to invest and to deploy. We can only support, we can provide you any kind of support and help, information, interactions, funding, co-funding, financial mechanism, but in the end we need the willingness of someone taking a pen, sign a contract, and some engineer to follow the implementation by industries. So, CESAR is you are CESAR, and I believe that's the only refrain we have to sing together. The establishment of the strong partnership between the European Commission and the industries is proving to be the right model to achieve results. And we are at the first steps of this cooperation between the Commission and the industry. But this partnership will only can improve. I believe that this is the right way to go. After less than a year, and especially probably after today's event, look into the wide mobilizations rising in the European ATM industry. Nobody, I believe nobody in Europe, but I would say all over the world, could have any more doubt that CESAR deployment is a reality, has started, and will be a brilliant, successful story to tell together. Thank you very much.
Massimo Garbini, ladies and gentlemen.
Grazie.
Managing Director for the CESAR Deployment Manager. Wise words. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you all have iPads available today at this event, just like last time. And this is to make sure that if you feel like asking a question, any and all, you are free to do so during the entire event. Any question, comment, or thought, you can use the iPad to send it to us. We have a production team backstage, and they will, at the end of each presentation, select the most frequently asked questions, and we will provide you with those answers live. Also, that information, questions, and answers will be posted online afterwards, after the event. Now, before we start with the first presentation, we have prepared a short video for you. Let's watch.
As a Pilot Common Project, PCP, related operational stakeholder, you have the unique opportunity to apply for co-funding for your ATM investment plan through CESAR Deployment Manager, SDM. The SDM will guide and support you through every step of the funding process. Co-funding for your investments. PCP-related projects could be co-funded through the CEF Transport Programme 2014 to 2020, which identified a budget of up to 2.5 billion euros for the ATM industry to deploy CESAR under the coordination of the CESAR Deployment Manager and the oversight of the European Commission. Through this mechanism, calls for proposals are launched periodically in order to accelerate the process of ATM modernisation in Europe. Grants are awarded by the European Commission's Directorate General for Mobility and Transport with the assistance of the Innovation and Networks Executive Agency, INEA. This means stakeholders can apply for co-funding of up to 50% and even 85% where investments are eligible for cohesion funds. How can you apply for co-funding? The European Commission has approved the Deployment Programme 2015 released by SDM. DP 2015 is the reference and driver of the technical content for the CEF Transport Call for Proposals 2015. We will support you to ensure the best chance for your project proposals to be awarded a grant. Step 1. Send us your proposals. Declaring your interest to submit proposals to the CEF Call 2015 helps SDM assess coverage of the DP 2015, identify opportunities to invite stakeholders to merge their projects into one, and highlight gaps in DP 2015 coverage that requires actions by SDM ahead of the call to trigger projects to fill those gaps. SDM supports implementing partners even before the call publication to raise their awareness of the CEF objectives and call for proposal procedures, and we will keep supporting implementing partners in call for proposals responses preparation to optimize their alignment with the content of the DP 2015. Know that we will make sure you understand what it's all about. SDM runs workshops to explain CEF transport calls, the coordination process, the timing for proposal preparation, and the legal and contractual framework. We provide you with a full information package detailing all of the procedures and with supporting documents. Our videos and tutorials will help you understand the CEF transport calls and underpinning processes. By coordinating the implementing partners, we will increase your chances to be awarded. SDM acts as coordinator of all implementing partners' responses to the call for proposals. Participation to CEF transport calls through SDM coordination is mandatory for any candidate project which is PCP related in order to comply with CEF eligibility criteria and to assure full alignment with DP 2015. SDM will make sure the focus is on the identified gaps and assist you so that the evaluation criteria set out within the call and relevant work programme are met and CEF transport calls deadlines are respected. SDM will oversee processes for implementing project data collection and processing and all administrative and legal data collection to comply with INEA forms and requests, so you are able to focus on fine-tuning your projects to better meet your needs and align it with DP 2015. We will help you prepare the grant agreements. The evaluation and selection of proposals submitted under the CEF Transport Call 2015 will be carried out by the European Commission with the assistance of INEA and the support of independent experts. Following that evaluation, Member States through the CEF Coordination Committee will approve a list of proposals recommended for funding. Finally, SDM, as the coordinator of all proposals, will also coordinate the agreement's preparation to grant the awarded co-funding.
Wonderful. Now, after this video, it is time for our first presentation, our first speaker. Here to talk to us about CESAR Deployment Manager's support to CEF Call 2015 responses preparation. Ladies and gentlemen, the lovely, the intelligent, give her a warm hand, Paola Di Giovanni.
Good afternoon, everybody. So good afternoon to you that are joining the event with us today and to those that are following us in web streaming. As a number of people are here and according to the words that have been said by Massimo in the opening speech of this sneak review, there is a great ambition on the next call for proposal for the Connecting Europe facility. There are a real perception of potential benefit operational stakeholders and industry can receive by applying to the Connecting Europe facility. So I'm here today just to present you and provide you with some information on the general terms and elements of the Connecting Europe facility, but in particular to give you and to describe you the specific support services the SDM will provide to each of you to facilitate your accession to the financial support of the European Union. It is true, we have to set up a close cooperation. So my presentation will describe what you can expect from us, from the CESAR Deployment Manager as coordinator of the project proposal preparation, and what we have to do together to apply for funding. So the next one. First of all, as you, of course, will be aware of, the Connecting Europe facility is It is an instrument created by the European Union to facilitate and to support networks and infrastructure of telecommunication, energy, and transport sectors. A big amount of money is available for the financial years 2014-2020. 20.5 billion euros are there for transport modes, and 11.2 are there for those countries which are eligible for cohesion fund. The big amount of money which will help us, all the operational stakeholders and industry, to innovate and to render the air transport sector, the sectors as in general, and in particular ATM, efficient, effective, environmentally friendly, and to support the growth of the European Union economy. Which is our interest on this big envelope is the amount of budget which is deserved up to 2020 to the air traffic management system, which is 2.5 billion euros in total for granting, financing, and other financial instruments. According to that, we know that we can apply to different threads, as I mentioned, which are covering overall European Union through the CEF funding, and only a specific subset of operational stakeholders and industry, which are potentially applying for cohesion fund, which are those where the national income, it is less than the 19%, national growth is less than 90% of the average of European Union. As a matter of fact, there are important consequences in applying to the two different threads for those that are eligible, in fact, to the cohesion fund. The normal co-funding rate, which is 20% for airborne equipment and 50% of the eligible cost for ground infrastructure, raise up to the 85%. And there is quite an important thing that has to be clarified concerning the eligibility of the non-European countries. In fact, also entities from third countries may participate in projects of common interest, whether included in the scope of the common project, and in case they are considered necessary and indispensable for the realization of the pilot common project. So what are our expectations and why we are here today? The next call for proposal, which we expect to be published on the 4th of November, so in very few days, will give us the possibility to access to up to 515 million euros, plus 30 million for the cohesion fund eligible entity. And we will be the coordinator, being the responsible for the management level of the CESAR deployment governance. CESAR deployment governance has been set up to coordinate the execution of the pilot common project. It is made of 3 layers. One is the political layers under the responsibility of European Union. The second one is the management level under the responsibility of the CESAR deployment manager, which will ensure the synchronized implementation of common project. But the third level is made up of all implementing partners which are called to implement the pilot common project and to execute the modernization of the ATM infrastructure through the ATM functionalities included in the PCP. So why we are here as DM? Because we have to be the coordinator of proposal preparation. We will support you in the different phase, which will go from the proposal preparation up to the final end of the project life cycle, from proposal preparation, which will start after call publication, up to the submission of the proposal. Following the submission of proposal, there will be the role of INEA and the European Commission for the selection of the project. That is quite important for us to underline today, that SDM will not participate to any selection process. It's completely a third party in the evaluation and selection phase, which is under control and responsibility of European Union. But once the project will be selected, such project will be then transformed in contract to specific grant agreements with European Union. And the CESAR deployment manager, in its role of coordinator, will support not just the proposal preparation, but also the SGA preparation phase. And we also act as coordinator for the execution of the project in the role of FPA coordinator. We will see afterwards the legal framework which is behind the SDM, and it is behind also the management of the funding from the European Union to the implementing partner. However, we are all partners of the same framework, and the role of the SDM will be to coordinate implementing partners in all steps, from proposal preparation to project execution and closure of the project. I would like also to stress that the role of the SDM is in coordinating the action funded through INEA. We will not be the coordinator of the single local implementation initiative, which will remain under your responsibility and will remain under your the responsibility to perform and to execute them. We will be acting as a single gateway towards INEA and towards the European Union in all the three steps. So, in fact, as mentioned by Massimo, since the deployment program is the reference for the CEF call transport for the ATM, the work that we have started to prepare the next call for proposal has been launched in July with the indication of interest. We are here in the sneak preview anticipating the call for proposal, because we want to share with you all the steps that are necessary for us to participate together, to build up a strong cooperation and to act as a team. We are here now following the results of what has been the indication of interest campaign that was not mandatory, was completely on a voluntary basis, but was important for us to understand the interest and ambition of the implementing partners in the future call. On the basis of the first information, we will then go through 3 different steps, which will be related to getting more detailed information on the implementation projects that you have initially presented to us, and to try to coordinate and integrate this implementation initiative in proposals which are structured against or in compliance with the deployment program structure itself. According to this clustering, which is quite an important step of our proposal preparation work, we will also initiate and launch the work of the proposal response preparation. Because as a number of you already know, the procedures for submitting project proposal to INEA is quite a complex one. It's made up of a number of information that has to be provided, both at different level, and we need to support you not just and not only on the preparation of the description of your implementation initiative, but also in all the other elements that are necessary to submit a successful proposal to the call CEF 2015, of course, not 2020. So there are quite important roles that we have to share. There are something that you have to expect from us, and other tasks that has to be performed by you. So what will be the objective of the SDM in this phase? First of all, we are here to assist you, to provide you with all the information, clarification, guidance, and guide also you through a common roadmap so that your investment will be secure through being in compliance with the deployment program, being presented in accordance with INEA eligibility and evaluation criteria on the basis of which the results and the grant will arrive, to provide for complementarity of proposal, so groupings and clustering of proposal that are in line with the deployment program, and also secure the efficient time management of payments, in particular final payments, and the call deadline. It is not there just for curious things, because we know that it will be a very short time frame, a tight time frame for us, because there are numbers of stakeholders and the complexity behind is really high. And what will be instead your role? Since we have to coordinate you, that we have to, we have to receive from you a number of information which will enable us to support and assist you in the elaboration of the proposal. And we will come to you asking a number of information which are coming from different areas. Legal and administrative information on your organization, some information concerning declaration of compliance with European Union law and policy on procurement, environmental policy, and whatsoever. Financial information and operational information which refer to your specific company, as well as the most known technical information on the implementation initiative. Why these 4 blocks of information are so important for us and are so important for you to timely collect and provide. Because they correspond to the 4 parts of the application which is expected by INEA. So the formal request from INEA to answer and to present proposal responses to the call for the CEF 2015 is based on 4 forms. The first one, the part A, is the one that corresponds to administrative information, complemented by part B and part C, whilst only the part D is grouping and is grouping the information concerning the technical work to be performed by the proposal. I would like to stress the fact that these are forms that apply to the overall proposal. So in case of a cluster or different projects, this will have to be elaborated by the CESAR deployment manager on the basis of the information you will provide on the technical aspects and on the technical implementation initiative you will perform and you will implement in the next future from 2015, 2016, 2020. In particular, I would like to stress the fact that the description of the specific implementation project in the dimension of a general cluster of projects, so a common proposal to be submitted by a number of implementation projects, is an annex to the Part D. Why it's so important that? Because Part D will describe the general global project, including the needs and objective of the action. For us, the global project is, of course, the pilot common project, and in particular, the ATM functionality, which will be addressed by the number of implementation initiatives which will be grouped within a single proposal. Then there will be the description of the details of this action, providing also indication to the relevance of the action vis-à-vis the objective of the PCP, the maturity, both on technical, administrative, and legal terms, the impact of the action on technical, but also on performance and cost effectiveness, the quality of the action, and all the other information requested by the template. As a matter of fact, the IP template that some of you are familiar with because they are being used in the previous call for proposal have to be considered as an annex to the overall technical part of a proposal to be submitted in response to the CEF call. I would like just to go quickly through the IP template, because I think it's important that all of us are really confirmed that these are essential for you to better describe and better plan your project according to the number of indications that are in response to INEA and European Union request, because we need to receive that to populate properly not just the description of the project itself, but the overall proposal that I just presented to you before. In this sense, the IP template for the call 2015, which is already on the website and will be distributed to all of you immediately after the sneak preview, and also to all that has registered and to the stakeholders consultation platform, is structured in 4 parts. The first part is presenting just the general and technical information about the project, introducing, of course, partners, the leader, contributors, different roles, and expected task, deliverable, and milestone. According to that, there is the need to fill in the second part of the template, which is on the economics of the project itself. It is trying to provide information which then will be important, not just for the submission of the proposal, but also for the monitoring of the activities to be performed by the implementation initiative. There are different cost categories, of course, which are the one considered eligible for funding by European Union, and there are information on performance impact on the basis of a self-assessment to be performed by the candidate partners, and the other impacts. The other impact section is covering some information which are essential to populate the fields of the party. Social impact, maturity of the action, governance structure of your project, everything which is then useful for us to present to the INEA the maturity of the initiative, and to present to INEA how we will work together successfully to execute the project itself. These are the requirements. Now, how we can work together, which will be the SDM support. First of all, we would like to stress again, I would like to stress again that we need to comply with the deployment program, which will be the reference for all the implementation initiative. The version, the DP 2015, which has been approved, is being approved by European Union. We have to ensure that the proposal is complete and is addressing all formal requirements by INEA and by the call, not just technical one, but administrative, legal, and financial. And we have to meet the deadline, which is mid-February 2016, which could seem as a long period from now, but it is not. Believe me, the experience that we have last year entering in the arena once the call was launched in December just shown that number of issues has to be faced in a very tight agenda. So the fact that we share the objective together and we are all on the same page, aligned with a single process, will facilitate all of us to participate to that. Why? Because it is really a complex process for you to enter in and for the SDM to coordinate. Due to a number of factors. First of all, the number of implementing partners which are expected to participate to the call, both civil and military. The large and heterogeneous set of information we have to collect, and the need to seek member states' endorsement for all the proposal, which will imply, in substance, reduction of the time frame available for the elaboration of the proposal. Normally, member states will ask around 4 weeks to get the endorsement. So if it is mid-February, then the deadline will be around 15-20 January. We will see the defined deadline we are proposing. However, this is a very complex process. And now, what we will do for you, first of all, we following the presentation and the information that we will share in the next slides concerning the type of information to be provided, and in particular, the process flow we have to follow, you will receive a guidance material which will support you in all the details of the process to be followed, and will provide you on the information concerning the preparation of the application, specific information for each of the sections of the proposal, the submission procedures, which some of you already know probably, is both on a website through the web platform of TNT and in physical packaging of all the administrative documents. And the supporting tools that we have were elaborated for you to coordinate and to prepare the work, as well as the introduction to the next phase in case of a successful proposal, so the SGA preparation and the execution phase. We will have also a list of action for all the participants, including CESAR deployment manager, and the annexes, which are quite important because it includes all the templates necessary to be filled in by all candidates, applicants to participate to the process, and according to the INEA request and according to the SDM process flow, which I will introduce to you in a few minutes. We have created a dedicated email address, which will be the official communication flow for each of the candidates during the overall CEF call process. We will have a question and answer section on our website dedicated to the call for proposal preparation. Major question will be updated, are already there today, and will be updated every 2 weeks. We also have prepared videos, as you will see, and on DP content and FPA responses preparation. Why I mentioned the video that you have already seen? Because I'm sure that you are not the only one that have to participate to the preparation phase within your organization. There will be a number of your colleagues that need to understand what is going on and why they are asked to provide information to who else, the SDM, why. So the fact that they understand the concept, the context they are moving in and why they have some pressure in terms of timing will facilitate you in participating to the process and us in preparing the proposal. So the suggestion is for you all to share the videos that we are presenting today within your organization. It will help you in create the right environment and to support you in governing the process. Then, you know, there is the CESAR Deployment Manager website, and in particular on the website, we are creating a new repository where you will find all the information. We will try to avoid the use of long emails that we used in the past, and to have a more efficient storage of information. But of course, we have to comply with different requirements. So publicity of the information which refers to the overall process and refers also to INEA call, text, template, and so on. But a restricted part where all the sensitive information you will provide us will be available only for those that are credentialed to access to that. Of course, DM and the respective owner of the information. For this, the repository will be structured in 2 separate sections. One public with the call documentation, the guidelines, the question and answer, and the roadmap, the overall time frame, the Gantt chart of the activities we have to work together. And a restricted part which will be created, one for each of the action proposal we will create together, each of the cluster that will be created to submit proposal together, so that only those that are participating to a single cluster will enter the information related to that. And more than that, since you are providing us with information that can be considered sensitive, in particular financial information, but not just that one, within each of the working place reserved for a specific action, there will be a separate folder for the uploading of your organization documents, which have to be accessible only for you and a deployment manager. How it will work? As a matter of fact, we have to work together. So we cannot just receive information and that's all. We have to interact with you. We will be at your disposal for clarification, meetings, and as mentioned by Massimo, please ask us what you need. We are trying to set up a common process, but we know that there are different levels of maturity of implementing stakeholders vis-à-vis the CEF call for proposal and the CEF process as a whole. So please help us in helping you. But the general process that we have to follow is based on an iterative approach, which is mainly needed for the part D, the technical part, and the resulting budget, and the part A, B, C, which are the administrative part of proposal. Now I'm entering the very, very boring part of the proposal, not because the previous one was the most exciting. However, please follow me in this information because it will help you once we will start to work together properly. We will receive your IP template, and on the basis of the IP template, we will elaborate a general proposal. First of all, a clustering of proposal, and on the basis of this, the technical proposal. And we will also upload comments and contribution on IP. On the basis of the second draft of the IP, we will have a second draft, a second technical version of the proposal. Again, comments on the IP template and comments from you to the technical part that we are proposing, because it is a bilateral flow between us. It's not just that you are receiving information or receiving recommendation or guidance, but we are here also to receive your input on how to better present the general proposal. On the basis of that, we will have a third and final version to be uploaded on the repository, where all the implementing partners participating to that which have to be approved by all participating partners. So there are, in general, 3 iterations, closing with the approval from the implementing partners. And I want to stress again that is a bilateral process when we provide you with recommendation on IP template, and you also support us in the technical description of the overall proposal. On the administrative side, the process is a little bit less complex in terms of number of iterations. We, of course, send to you guidance requesting documents, and first of all, we would like to receive in scanned copies, so to double-check what you are producing, if it is in line with the request, if it is or not corresponding to the requirements of the call. And on the basis of that, and on the comments, we will ask you to provide the original documents, and then producing the overall part A, B, C, which are summarizing the administrative and legal requirements of a specific call. These are the iterative process, but how they will place in time in our cooperation for the next month. First, please note that we have tried to organize the work considering sufficient time for the 2 parts to work. So from SDM to produce comments to you and for you to join us in understanding the general proposal. The launching event is the call publication, which is expected, still tentative, on the 4th of November. And the first line of activities is the IP template finalization. As I mentioned to you, there are a number of iterations, but the first point for us is the IP template finalization. We will start just today. We can also not wait for the 4th of November, but the final expected IP template from you is due to the 16th of December. On the basis of the information we will elaborate the technical and financial part of the proposal, which will take a little bit more time, of course, to complete the 3 iterations, and will be closed on the 20th of January. Why the 20th of January? Because we want to have sufficient time to provide information to member states for them to endorse. So the key date is the 20th January for the presentation to the member states of the level of information they need to endorse proposal. In parallel, we will also perform the collection and preparation of the administrative and legal part of proposal. This part will be uploaded on the E10 Tech tool for the member states to endorse. Following the endorsement, there will be the finalization part, which will take some time. It can take some more times for revising technical minor elements and to collect remaining information from all of you. And we will be ready to submit on the 15th of February, still a tentative date. Of course, this roadmap is based on the assumption that we have shared up to now concerning both publication and deadline of the proposal, of the call. If there will be any change, the roadmap will be adapted. But as you will see, it's quite a complex, high-level roadmap, and the complexity is more if you enter in the details of what we have to do. So first of all, we are here on the 29th of October with our sneak preview, and we have to see how we will reach the end of 15. First of all, we wait for the call publication, and we ask you to upload on the repository that will be ready following the call publication by the 13th of November. It will be the first draft of the IP template, which means the first draft of the description of your implementation initiative to be provided, possibly completed in all the fields. Of course, it will be implemented and improved in the further iteration, but please try to fill it up since the beginning in all its elements. On the basis of this, what will be our role? First of all, to comment and to provide you comments and recommendations on your IP template, which will be uploaded on the 27th of November. And starting on the basis of the IP template, the definition of the clustering, how the different IP template will be put together in a specific single action proposal. And at the same time, to launch the preparation of the technical part of the proposal. On the basis of we will, of course, wait for the INEA Info Day on the 30th of November, and the second Info Day that we will have on the 1st of December to show you the next steps to better provide you with support tailored to the status of the action at the time of the 1st of December. On the basis of the comments that you will receive on the 27th of November, you will be asked to provide a new version of your implementation initiative description through the IP template, second draft, due by 4th of December. On this basis, we will work and we will upload the first technical proposal on the 9th of December. And we will start also the cost effectiveness analysis, which is one of the requirements of the call for the overall proposal in line with the PCP references. We also elaborate the final assessment, the final recommendation for your projects, which will be ready on the 11th of December. According to that, you will be asked to upload on the web repository the final version of your IP template on the 16th of December. And together to provide your comments on the first version of the technical proposal and on the budget. Both elements will go together. On the 22nd of December, we will upload, on the basis of your comments, the second version of the general part of the description of the action, part D, including budget. So, what will happen afterwards? We will wait your comments to the second draft of the general technical proposal, which are due by 11th of January. We will finalize in the same time also the cost effectiveness analysis, and we, on the basis of your comments, SDM, we elaborate and upload on the 15th of January the version 3. You may remember we have 3 iterations. The third one is for approval. So this is we are here on the 15th of January. You will receive the third version of the technical proposal, and you can provide comments on that approval by the 19th of January. Why? Because on the 20th, as I mentioned before, we have to prepare and distribute to all the member states the information they need for the endorsement, which are an abstract of the general proposal, the list of implementing projects where the relevant members are participating in, the overall budget, and the budget for the member states. And on the 21st of January, we expect that you will contact, but you should anticipate this contact, of course, with your member states to present the initiative and to get their endorsement. We have then to the IP at the member states to provide the endorsement by the 10th of February, because on that date we have to finalize the E10 submission for the technical part, so to have packaging and shipping of the original part of the proposal, part A, B, C, to European Union through INEA agency. This is the technical part of the roadmap. Now we are in administrative one, which is quite a little bit, it's easier. Still, there are some dates which are important. Of course, you will receive all the information, and all the presentation will be available on the website, and the roadmap and the guidance material will be rendered available in the repository. We cannot just send out the guidance material right now, so if this is your expectation, because we have to wait for the call publication. We should wait for, of course, for the final deadlines, also for the final call text and application form. So the SDM, as I mentioned before, following call publication, will provide you with the guidance on proposal elaboration. But the guidance, of course, are covering both technical and administrative part. You will start to work at that time on the preparation of all the information on administrative and legal side which are necessary and required by INEA. We would like to simplify and to support you in all these steps. However, there are requirements, formal requirements, which come from the European Union, and we cannot just escape to that. If you start on the 12th of November, which is the expected date for us to receive and for you to provide us with the information, is 9th of December. We would like to receive, we expect to receive your administrative and legal documents in scanned copy so that we can check and support you in providing the right one. On the basis of that, we will start preparing the administrative part of proposal, part A, B, and C. And then we will feedback, of course, on the information that you have provided us, and we will feedback you by 16th of December. And on the 16th of December, in fact, you will see uploaded our information on the repository, and also uploaded the proposal on the E10 Tech. What I mean by uploaded the proposal on the E10 Tech, just the creation of the application form, not the full population of the forms, which will be, of course, based on the further steps of the technical and administrative roadmap. On the 22nd of December, we expect to receive from you, so from the 9th to the 22nd, all the original documents, so that we can package that, start organizing the formal administrative parts. It can be considered in advance, but please Consider that last year, the administrative part of a single cluster, there were 3 clusters coordinated with the participation of the DM, was something like a pile of documents like this. And it was only 43 members. And the overall amount on investment is not comparable to the one that we have received today as indication of interest from you. So this anticipation is really important for you to follow up all the steps and for us to get organized to support you better on the technical side and administrative side. So on the 15th of January, on the basis of all the originals that you have prepared and provided us, we will submit Part A, B, and C on the ETH. We will upload Part A, B, C on the ETH and Tech. And why it is important, this deadline? Because on the 20th, your member states have to start looking at document for endorsement. And therefore, this deadline, the availability of all information by this day, it's essential for them to start looking at the proposal. Then we have the request for the member states' endorsement on the 20th of January, as I mentioned before, to be provided by the 10th of February, 5 days in advance to the expected 10th date of submission of proposal, so that from the 10th to the 15th we can package, ship all the proposal to INEA, both on submitting formally on ETH and Tech tool technical part, and physically packaging and shipping all the administrative part of all proposals. So on the 15th of February, we will be at the Blue Star, the first one, the proposal submission. As I mentioned at the beginning of my presentation, and as it has been mentioned by Massimo, the SDM is here to support you not just in a specific part of your implementation initiative, but in the overall life cycle of your project, since proposal preparation to the project execution. So we will be your partners, your coordinator, and we will assist you in all these steps. So let's work together and let's deliver together in this being successful for the CEF Call 2015. Thank you.
Giovanni. Grazie. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not already sent us your questions, thoughts, and comments, now is definitely the time to do so. You've all been provided with iPads to contact our production team backstage. You've heard and seen the presentation. You will now be given about 5 minutes to discuss things with your friends and colleagues, your table mates, and then in the final 5 minutes, send us whatever questions may arise. We will see you all again in 5 minutes when our team has been given the time to process and assess the answers we will be providing you in about 5 minutes. So I will see you then. Yeah.
Are you still alive? Someone is falling asleep. No, please. You believe that probably this is a questions session for you to us. Actually, I want to see if you were paying attention to Paula's presentation. I will ask you. I will interview you if you are able to answer to our questions. Of course, I'm joking. Let me enter into this question and answer sessions between me and my Deputy Managing Director, which is Nicola Varisco, all of you know very well. I would like to start, before going into the single questions that we received, I would like to address several questions, so I want to group all of them instead of showing on the screen. One general statement. We received some questions about the flexibility for some country to be adapted to the general timescale that Paula presented to you. The answer is that no. We presented this timescale to your state member states into the Single Sky Committee. We are going to present it to the CEF Coordination Committee. DG Move already informed at the Single Sky Committee in any kind of environment your state representative about this timescale. And please, it's also up to you to put in place any kind of good preparation of acceptance by your state and your representative at the state. At the moment, we didn't receive any opposition to the time frame that we know is challenged, but in a nutshell, your state representative will have something like 3 weeks to endorse the proposals. Let's go ahead, please, with the questions. Nicola, would you say hello? Hello to someone.
Yes, you hear me. Hello and good afternoon to you. I was in the back room during the first session, and I must say I'm impressed by the number and the quality of the question that we have received. Also by the level of detail you have addressed through your questions, which shows that indeed you are ready to apply into the next call, and we take it as a very positive signal. Now, Massimo, you can go with
Yes, I will
first
start
question.
and I will leave Nicola answer to other questions. I will start with the question we received. Will there be 80-20% ratio for PCP, no PCP? Technically, I learned that is part A and part B of the call. Actually, this is an indicative ratio. Yes, it is like this right now, but depends on the evolutions of the assessment and then after the evaluations by the commission of the projects. But as an indication, we can go 80-20, but it's not a fixed limit. We can be a little bit flexible on that. There is flexibility as it happened into the 2014 call, actually. Next question, please. Okay, is there any indication of the eligibility of cost? It's easy, you can read the question. Differently from the 2014 call, for the call 2015, the eligibility will start from the date of presentations of projects. There's no exceptions to that. So the day after you present your projects, that will be fixed as the eligible date to start be co-funded. Correct? Go ahead, next question. Nicola.
Next question, please. Sorry, you have to speak louder, please.
Okay, I still do not understand the answer to the question.
Which one?
About the date of submission.
Eligibility.
The date of eligibility.
Okay.
You said when we submitted it. Is it when we give it to you as DM, or is it the day in February when
Go.
you
It's okay.
give it to
Go. Thank you very much for the question.
So to be clear, it is when the proposals are submitted to INEA. So it's not when you will upload your projects into the DM, it is really when the proposals will be submitted to INEA. So according to what Paola presented to you earlier, it's around or even on the 15th of February next year. So I take the next question. It's about our role for the non-PCP. And on that, I really want to make it clear from the beginning, we have no role and no mandate outside the PCP. So when we make distinctions between part A and part B of the call, for us, part A is our business and part B is not. Very clear. So, next question, please. About coordination fees. There are questions about the partners that will join already in the call 2014 and then later in the call 2015. The framework partnership. There is a coordination fee. You're all aware of that. There was information note back to February this year on our website about coordination fee, and now that those who are going to sign the SGA 2014 have seen and read the ICA, they are even more aware. This coordination fee is the same for every partner. It is a percentage of the grant they received as an implementing partner, and there is no difference between the new one, the old one, the future one, or those who are also members of the DM. It's all the same, fair and transparent rule. Next question. So yes, it's required to resubmit, to keep it short. I try to take maximum of questions. So next question, please. So the project's proposal are expected to be submitted using the template. Yes, indeed. And it's very important that you follow this template and you, to the maximum possible extent, fill it, the template, from the beginning so that we avoid to have too many loops between you and us that could delay the early stage of the process. Two more questions, I'm being told. So next question, please. So the process to apply to the CEF funds and cohesion funds different. A priori, it is the same. What is still unsure is whether there will be one call or two calls. But the timeline presented by Paola is the same, that's for sure. Depending on whether it will be one call or two different calls, it connects with other questions we have received, whether you can submit in the same project, in a combined manner, activities that would cross between cohesion and non-cohesion states. This question we will only be able to answer when we will know exactly the nature and the structure of the call. So we can not answer today, we park the question, you will find the answer on our website after. Next question, please. So the states. The states will have a say, as any time I would say in such a call. They will endorse the proposal, but after aggregation and preparation by the DM. As explained by Paola in her presentation, you saw the roadmap, and here I'm back to this key date mentioned by Massimo, which is 20th of January 2016. This is the date by which the proposals prepared by the DM in coordination, in full coordination with you, will be submitted to the states. So yes, the states will have a say, and the say is coming in the last 3 weeks, endorsement, in fact, to use the keyword, endorsements coming in the last 3 weeks before the deadline of the call. Finished. So I stop there. Many other questions, you will find them on our website with written answer. And again, thank you for your active participation. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, and I believe that now we are going to have other presentation. Please.
Thank you. Thank you. Nicola. Thank you. And Massimo, thank you very much. Now, ladies and gentlemen, first of all, thank you for your valuable input, because without your questions, this part of the presentation would be kind of dull now, wouldn't it? To continue with everything, I would first like to say that everybody who is growing a bit thirsty, after our next speaker, after our next presentation and Q&A, you'll be granted a coffee break, refreshments and libations. But first, let's watch another video.
CESAR Deployment Manager's Deployment Program 2015, the DP 2015, was born on September the 30th, 2015, and sets out how the Pilot Common Project, PCP, will be implemented. The DP 2015 is a milestone in air traffic management modernization, marking the move from the CESAR research and development phase to CESAR deployment. DP 2015 is your guide to 1. Timely implementation of the PCP to close remaining implementation gaps. 2. The right priorities in the CEF Call 2015 for proposals to increase the probability of receiving CEF funding. The document consists of 6 main chapters. The strategic view outlines the main principles adopted by the SDM in its development of the project view. In order to sequence PCP implementation effectively, the strategic view organizes the 44 families into 3 levels of readiness for implementation in terms of the next CEF Transport and Cohesion Fund calls for proposals. They are 30 high readiness families. Those families are ready for implementation, and the related implementation projects are the most urgent to launch in order to continue timely PCP implementation and early benefits delivery. 10 medium readiness families. Those families are ready for implementation, although related implementation projects could be less urgent to launch because they're less critical to timely PCP implementation. 4 low readiness families. Those families are not ready for implementation. The performance view is about PCP and CESAR's contribution to achieving the Single European Sky high-level goals. The monitoring view provides a picture of the state of play of ATM's modernisation across Europe, highlighting all the gaps. Risks and Mitigations recaps high-level risks to PCP implementation and DP realisation. In this chapter, SDM also proposes related mitigation actions. Finally, the last chapter, towards DP 2016, looks ahead to the next iteration of DP, due to be published by 30th of September 2016, as well as anticipating further improvements in the next update of the DP, which will target the next round of CEF calls. The DP 2015 helps Europe close the gaps. The most crucial element of DP 2015 is the identification of not yet awarded implementation projects for each of the 44 families, so-called gaps that must be closed to fully implement PCP. The gaps are further broken down between activities relevant to the CEF Transport Call for Proposals or the CEF Cohesion Fund Call for Proposals 2015. The aviation sector can receive up to €650 million of co-funding when undertaking projects to fill the gaps. Gaps marked with N are critical to the performance of the entire ATM network, so this is where operational stakeholders are called upon to focus and ensure 1. You know what you are expected to implement to comply with PCP, and 2. Your investment plan is aligned with DP 2015 to ensure successful application to CEF Calls 2015. We will work together to fill the remaining gaps and ensure full PCP implementation. The DP 2015 is your opportunity to receive CEF funding. Co-funding for implementation projects is provided by the INEA. Stakeholders can apply for CEF funding and receive up to 50% of their investments, and even 85% in case of investments eligible for cohesion funds. As a first supporting step through the DP 2015, SDM has set out all the priorities for the CEF Calls for Proposals 2015. Next, SDM will guide you through the funding application process by providing all the necessary tools and support. This deployment program has been created to lead investment plans by both civil and military European air navigation service providers, airports and airlines, and will provide Europe with a safe and efficient continental air transport system. With the DP 2015, the industry has the unique chance to deliver an efficient ATM system under its own leadership. CESAR Deployment Manager. Let's deliver together.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to talk about the deployment program of 2015. Luckily, this part will be taken care of by the lovely Maria Grazia Lapiscopia, whose style is only overshadowed by her intelligence. So I will now leave you in her more than capable hands. Ladies and gentlemen, give a warm welcome to her, Maria Grazia Lapiscopia.
So, good afternoon, everybody. I think the video was quite exhaustive, but I would like to go a little bit more into the detail of Deployment Program 2015 to better guide all of you preparing your proposals. So, what is DP 2015? DP 2015 is the project view of the pilot common project. It is a living document that will be updated every year. And it is to be considered by all the operational stakeholders as the driver to update your investment plan, the ATM technological part of your investments. So it is also a working reference for us as DM and for all the implementing partners for many things, starting from planning to synchronization, as well as coordination and reporting purposes. Another important pillar of the program is the performance policy of SDM. So as it is reported, it is a consolidated performance view and an initial assessment and CBA methodology consistent with CESAR-JU and the PRB methodology. So at the end, DP 2015 is the sole reference for PCP implementation, and as such, has to be considered as the specification for PCP part of CEF 2015 call. So, to the next slide. Okay. So, what you need to check within the program when you're preparing the proposal. There are three important sections that I would like you to concentrate. So I will go later into the details, but the first one is to look, you have to look at the family description. It is in the chapter 3 of the project view. The second important topic is the list of gaps. You can find the list of gaps both in chapter 3 and as well in chapter 5 in the monitoring view. And then the third important thing you have to look at is the sequencing of families that is in the strategic view of chapter 2. So now, going a little bit more into the detail of the first important item you need to consider is the family description. What you will find in the family description, you know that the PCP has been, let's say, articulated in 44 families in order to facilitate your analysis and also to catch up which has to be implemented by when. So in total, in the program, we have 44 families. And you need, when you go through the analysis of each of the family and preparing your project, look at the readiness of the families, the readiness of implementation. It is an important factor because, of course, the high-level readiness families are the ones that need to be prioritized to ease the deployment of pilot common project. You have, of course, to look at the description of the family because in the description of the family, there are the requirements, what is needed by you to be implemented and how. a look also at the list of stakeholders is very important. It's very important because you can recognize yourself in the list of stakeholders, but you can also check if there are other stakeholders that are foreseen for that implementation, and eventually contact them to prepare a joint project. Some indication from SDM on this can also be found in the part, in the field of the family that is linked to the need of synchronization or the specific recommendation. Another important topic that you need to look at in the family description is the list of all the available means of compliance, as well as the specification and industry standards. We try to summarize everything within the family. You can also find in a dedicated annex this information, but you will have the list of all what you need to properly deploy the activity. The second important thing that you have to look at is the list of gaps. Being a gap, it means that you are the ones that have to implement that activity. So the first thing to do is to see and to check if you are among the list of gaps, because DP 2015 is able to provide really a snapshot of the current PCP implementation status. And this was thanks to you and to your support, because when building the program, you were consulted and a good feedback was received by you on this. So you will find the description on the gaps both in chapter 3, where you have the complete, let's say, list. So if you have implemented, not implemented, you are implementing, but the implementation is not there yet. But in chapter 5, in the monitoring view, the list of gaps has a different granularity, and it's helpful because you can see what is the real status of implementation, if the implementation is in progress, is planned, or is already completed. So this is important for you to check, because this is, let's say, a way to highlight the fact that your proposal is needed or not. The third topic that needs to be checked with you is the sequencing. This is very important for you, it's very important for us, because the good sequencing of the implementation is then the good synchronization of the implementation. So in the strategic view, for each of the ATM functionality, for each of the families, you will find the initial operational capability and the full operational capability foreseen for that family. So when presenting the project, your project needs to comply to those implementing dates. So next one. Yes, the next slide is honestly now closing the part on the program and highlighting to you what are the results of the indication of interest, what's the process that we followed, and which are the results. I have to say that all those recommendations that I provided before were already followed by many of you when presenting the indication of interest. Because a good number of the proposals that we received is really compliant. I will explain later on and give you the proper data. But the purpose of putting in place this process in terms of call for indication of interest the purpose was to really support the stakeholders by providing then some guidelines to raise the the quality of your future proposal. Of course, was a way for us to check if there is a convergence between the project and the pilot common project and the deployment program. Let's say, have a snapshot in order to trigger when it is when we do not receive an indication of interest, that there is a gap in a certain area. And it's also a way to foster cooperation among stakeholders, to enable defragmentation, as I said before, and so enable a proper PCP deployment. The call for interest process is now closed. What DM will do afterwards will be to provide to you by the 6th of November some guidelines and suggestions for that you can use for the upcoming submission of candidate projects for CEF Call 2015. So some suggestions that will be really helpful for you to put in place the project. So let's start sharing some data on the indication of interest, and let's tell you really thanks for all the work you did and for the feedback you provided to the SDM. The SDM, through this absolutely non-binding process performed on a voluntary basis, has received up to almost 400 indications of interest. So this is a great result. It's a great result for many reasons and a clear signal that CESAR deployment phase has successfully started and that operational stakeholders are now engaged and involved in the overall process. It's a good signal because the deployment program that was released by the end of September is really acknowledged by the implementing partners as a common working reference for PCP implementation. And I will show you later on why, through the data. And of course, the last important factor is that operational stakeholders are ready now to invest into ITM modernization and recognize that CEF funding is a crucial support towards the implementation. So, regarding let's say the number, so these data are updated to the indication of interest received up to the 19th of October. As you can see, as I said to you before, many of those that presented indication of interest were already aware of the main principle to draft a correct proposal, because almost the 52%, so 196 proposals, are within the PCP scope. Just, let's say, a short percentage, that is around the 80%, can be defined outside the PCP scope. For the rest, so around the 40%, 151 indication of interest received, we believe there is the need of having more information and more time for SDM to provide the right information and feedback to the stakeholders. So, a bit more into the detail, you can see that from the indication of interest that were retained good and in line with the PCP scope, so 196, 122 are really ready to become a candidate project. For 43 projects, we will suggest to merge some initiative. This is important because through this merging of initiative, we can synchronize the implementation better from our side and facilitate you towards this goal. And the 31 proposals really need minor updates. Minor updates can be linked to the dates of implementation, can be linked to the family of implementation, so different association of the projects to the family will be suggested by us. So regarding the indication of interest that for us needs really more time or information, 89 are the ones for which we will really not be able to provide a proper feedback because some other information are needed. So we have not enough information to provide our feedback. And 62, for 62, we still need some time to work on them and decide which is the best suggestion from us to you. So I will close my intervention now. I tried to be as quick as possible, considering that also the previous presentation was very, very important, but also quite dense of information. So DP 2015 is the basis is to be considered as the basis for the sequencing of full PCP implementation. So you need to know that full PCP implementation is supported and will be supported by EU funding through a series of calls. And that the SDM, with taking its responsibility to fully implement the pilot common project, has as a priority, we support the stakeholder and will support the stakeholders to sequence the implementation of these activities on the basis of technical content included in DP 2015. That's why I stress again the need to look at it and to look in the details, because it will be very important for us in terms of sequencing that your project is somehow aligned with the family readiness of implementation. So the priority is for the families that are considered with a high readiness implementation. It's important also that you take into consideration the planning of activities of your projects and the matching with the planning as it is reported in the program. And of course, it will be also very important the coverage of network relevant gaps. You will see that some of the gaps have an N. That N means as a strategic project in terms of performance impact on the network. So I close now. Thank you very much for your attention.
Grazie. Maria Grazia Lapiscopia. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure you have already all sent in your questions, comments, and thoughts about this presentation. If not, now would be the moment to do so. I also have a couple of general announcements. Apparently it wasn't clear before, but yes, every video and every presentation you see here today will be made available online afterwards. Also, for the couple of people under you who have been starting to melt, the air conditioning has been turned on. And for everybody who is growing thirsty, after the following Q&A session, refreshments will be made available in Riverside Room next door. And after this Q&A, we will have a 20-minute coffee break. So we will be giving our team, our production team backstage, a couple of minutes to process and assess the questions and answers. And we will return to you in a couple of minutes. See you then. Well, ladies and gentlemen, as you probably all know, communication is a two-way street. You pose the questions, and we will provide you with the answers. Here to literally speak out those answers, ladies and gentlemen, Nicola Varensko and Maria Grazia Lapiscapia. Your applause, please. There we go.
So again, back on stage to answer some more questions. We are approaching 100 questions. We'll not answer them all, but we'll take some of them now. First question, please.
So are the percentages shown for indication of interest results related to project numbers? Yes, they are related to the number of the projects that were presented to this process.
Next question. So this point is very important. As DM, and as I said before, our scope is PCP and it is category A of the call. We are all aware that it could happen. In fact, it is already happening, that some part of the PCP are being implemented outside the framework partnership and even outside any call. Nevertheless, Commission expects that as DM, we still remain able to build a picture of PCP implementation. So we still need to work on which kind of contact to establish. Many of us, we have learned from the IDSG experience where everything was based on goodwill. And we hope that in the margin of the DM, it will still be possible to restore such a goodwill and get some information about projects, even if outside framework partnership. So I'm not giving you a final answer, but rather a kind of heading into which we are going to work. Next question.
Has the list of gaps been confirmed? In other words, it is still possible. Yeah. I can take it. So the list that we have now in the program is what the operational stakeholders confirmed to us, but it's not, let's say, a fixed data. So it will evolve, and so DP 2016 will be an opportunity to provide us more updated information.
Next question. Clusterization of the project is extremely important, and that's one of the added value of the deployment manager. In fact, through the clusterization, we already prepare for the next phase after the award, which is the execution. And the more we cluster ahead of the selection, the better we'll be in position to coordinate and synchronize. In the call 2014, you remember maybe this cluster per AF or groups of AF. It was a functional clusterization. With some more experience, we consider that in the call 2015, we'll rather cluster against the end date of the project in order to avoid some delay in the final payment or too long delay in the final payment of the project after they are completed. So at first level, clusterization could be, I remain cautious, but could be very much rather time-oriented than functionally oriented. But then at the level just below, so sub-cluster, if I can say, you will find back the structure per AF of the pilot common project. Next question, please.
So did we understand there was some, well, what we will do, we will not merge by ourselves the project, but we will suggest with our feedback to the implementing partners to the indication of interest that there is the possibility to make some merge and with whom. So, but the proposal at the end in terms of project preparation has to come from the operational stakeholder.
Next question. In terms of detail, it's a matter of proportion. Of course, we will not ask for a small project to list a lot of deliverables and milestones. With some more experience and after the call 2014, where we have detected, I would say, a wide diversity of project management practice, in the call 2015 and maybe even more in the DP 2016 and the future call, we will endeavor to converge towards some kind of common best practice in terms of project management. It will be a step-by-step approach. We all need to learn from each other. But as DM, we'll make sure that we have some proportionality, and especially for the very big projects, we make sure that there is enough milestones and deliverables and tasks so that as DM, we can have the necessary hook to see on a regular basis how much it's progressing, how well it's progressing, and so on. Keep in mind, we did already in the call 2014, we'll do again in the call 2015, that we have inserted some standard milestones in the project in order to have some already synchronization that facilitates our own reporting as deployment manager. Next question.
Projects that were not sent for indication. No, the process for the indication of interest is now closed. So what you can do is to start preparing your proposal and seeking for our advice during the preparation of the proposals in accordance to the technical roadmap showed by Paola before.
Yes, maybe I'm anticipating on another question, but just to complement, today is a kind of turning point. We close more or less the indication of interest. You have had some general feedback through the presentation of Maria Grazia. You will receive individual feedbacks by the DM in the coming days, but beyond that, it's not for you to resubmit indication of interest. It's really now for you to be in the best possible position, to start with the call 2015 and enter into the roadmap that Paola has presented to you. Next and last question. So, indeed, this is another important point. We are certainly not responsible for the selection and the award decision. And if today you ask the DM what kind of recommendation it will provide to the Commission, I would say it has already provided its recommendations to the Commission. This is a deployment program 2015. This is the only hard, I would say, criteria that we have and we will provide to the Commission. Indeed, this deployment program is not only the DM program, it is your program, and you know everything which is in the deployment program, so there is nothing hidden, there is no secret in our relation with the Commission. Now that we have delivered the deployment program, on the contrary, we turn to you. We go to the other side. We are, as you, beneficiaries in the upcoming call, and we support you in developing the best possible proposal to align with the DP and to cover the DP and to further implement the PCP. So I really wanted to stress this question. It's a fundamental one. Keep that in mind. Everything we wanted to recommend to the Commission, it has been done through the delivery of the DP. Now we are with you and we are on your side. I stop there for this session and thank you for, again, your very intensive contributions. We see a lot of questions coming in the back room and that's very interesting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicola. Maria Grazia, grazie. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know about you, but at this point, I could use a cup of coffee. So I believe it is a very good idea to take a short coffee break. In the Riverside room next to this one, there will be cool, pleasant refreshments. Fresh coffee has been brewed. And I would say that I am pleased to inform you all that we can take a 20-minute coffee break, and we will see each other here again in 20 minutes. Enjoy. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the final part of our presentation. I hope the coffee break proved refreshing, that your batteries have been recharged, you've been able to digest all of the information that has been given, because we have come to the last part. Our last speaker will talk about the legal setup of the CESAR Deployment Manager Framework Partnership. I'm happy to welcome her here to the stage once again, effervescent and radiant as always. Give her a warm hand, Paola Di Giovanni.
So, welcome back to everybody. I will start with the presentation on the legal framework, the legal setup, which is behind the CESAR Deployment Framework Partnership. As we have mentioned during our presentation this afternoon, CESAR deployment has been launched with the regulation for 009-2013, establishing the three layers governance composed of policy, management, and implementation layers. These three layers of the governance are put together through a structured legal framework, which is at the basis also of the interactions that SDM, European Commission and INEA on one side, and you, implementing partners, will have for the grants awarding and the further management of the grants once the project will be selected and will enter in the execution. So there are the information provided today are for you to get familiar with this composed and structured framework, so to be aware of what is behind and what is expected from you once entered in the partnership. In particular, the legal setup is based on three main agreements. The first one is the Framework Partnership Agreement, which is the long-term partnership set up with European Commission and SDM, and which is also grouping all the implementing partners to establish both the management layer of the deployment governance and the third layer. So the three parties of the governance are all together within the same contractual framework, which is the FPA. By regulations, by FPA, we have also requested to finalize and sign an internal cooperation agreement, the ICA. The ICA will govern the relationship just for between the layer 2 and the layer 3 of the governance, so between CESAR Deployment Manager and implementing partners. The last pillar of our legal framework is the specific grant agreement. The specific grant agreement is the contract that has to be signed once the projects are awarded to get the financial support from European Commission and to access funding. And they are signed by the three layers of the deployment governance. What is important for you to know is also that either the Framework Partnership Agreement and the specific grant agreements are signed by the implementing partners by mandate, providing mandate to the CESAR Deployment Manager, in particular to the Managing Director, as it is requested by the FPA. So there is no direct signature from you, but it's by representation provided by the SDM. I will not go through the details of all the agreements, and I will not provide you with another roadmap for the signature of these agreements, but just a few words to present you the content of the three so that you will be familiar with them. The first one is the Framework Partnership Agreement. As I just mentioned, is the cooperation mechanism which established the management layer and set up the rules for the organization of the deployment governance. The FPA has been signed on the 5th of December last year, 2014, by the SDM and by the European Commission. Being SDM, as you know, a consortium of implementing partners. Every time that as a result of a call, there will be new implementing partners receiving funds from the European Commission within the framework of the CEF, the Framework Partnership Agreement shall be amended in order to introduce these new partners in the general framework. The agreement says it is structured with an overall action plan, which refers to the objective of the deployment manager to coordinate the execution of the pilot common project, includes also the general conditions governing the relationship, which are also applied to the specific grant agreements, and also includes all the models that are needed for the management of the agreement, SGA as well, among which also the mandate for FPA and SGA signature. The second document that we have to consider is the internal cooperation agreement. As I mentioned, it is required by the FPA to sign an internal cooperation agreement between coordinating partners of the FPA, being the SDM on one hand, and implementing partners on the other hand. It provides for different elements which are detailing those processes underpinning the formal coordination of the activities within the partnership. So first of all, providing details on the CESAR deployment manager structures and its operation, including the OBS of the DM, providing some elements on the working arrangement that has to be set up for the realization of the deployment program, for the implementation of the project through the specific grant agreements, the mandate to the CESAR deployment manager, the different role which are within the actions submitted to the European Commission and which are needed for the execution of all the coordination, which is, of course, based on activities that has to be performed by the SDM, by action leader and activity leaders and implementing partners. And it also provides you with articles related to the general general provisions of the ICA itself. The ICA is the second fundamental agreement, with the third one, which is the final one for today, is the specific grant agreement. This one is, I think, the most interesting for you at this stage, since it's the results, or will be the results of all the activities to be performed for proposal preparation and submission. The SGA will be the agreement to European Commission, INEA one side, SDM as coordinator, and all implementing partners participating to the application, which has been considered successful by INEA after the evaluation process and is able to finalize the agreement itself. It refers to the general conditions which are defined within the FPA, and it provides two important annexes. The first one is the description of the action. What is this? It's the technical proposal that altogether we are preparing and submitting to INEA. In case of successful proposal, the technical part will be attached to the specific grant agreement to provide and describe the obligation for the execution of the project and the overall action. Of course, it will be revised in case of comments and indication by INEA and by the partners. The second annex is the budget, which includes all the costs that are considered eligible following the results of the evaluation by INEA, and also providing for the co-funding to these different projects. Both annexes are, of course, elaborated not just by the DM, but the DM in collaboration with all implementing partners. As it was introduced at the beginning, we will support you in the different steps. So since proposal preparation, this phase, after and following the results in the SGA preparation, and afterwards in the SGA execution. We will be the interface towards INEA to ease their communication to the implementing partners, but it doesn't mean that we will be the only point of information for them. We will always liaise with you and liaise with you to get your information, get your approval, and get your inputs on all the documents to be signed. So just to be very short in this afternoon session, this is the last slide for this presentation. And I thank you for your attention, and wait in the background for the question and answer. Thank you.
Grazie. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes our final presentation. But we still have our final Q&A moment, so we're not completely done yet, are we? Now, please send us your questions, obviously, if you haven't done so already. And our backstage team, our production team, will be making sure that everything gets processed and assessed properly. In a couple of minutes, we will return to you to have our final Q&A moment. And I would like to take this moment to thank you for all of your effort, your participation. We have received a lot of questions, and we value your input. We will see you again in a couple of minutes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, final part, the final Q&A. We've received your questions. Thank you for using the iPads. And of course, the final part, the answering part, will be provided by the lovely Paola Di Giovanni. Your applause, please.
So we received a number of questions, and we'll try to answer to you the most important part, or the major one. So the first question is, when would the funds be available after being awarded, and time frame for co-funding? That refers to the selection process that is to be performed by INEA. Normally, following the submission of proposal, the evaluation of that is closed by summertime, by end of June or July, when the CEF Coordination Committee is called to provide decision on the proposal resulting from the evaluation. Following decision of the Coordination Committee, INEA will start the negotiation of the SGA and the annexes of the SGA I just presented. It took around 2 or 3 months, so by November each year, November or December at the latest, the SGA will be signed. So this is the reference for the awarding. The awarding is following the decision, the consolidation of the awarding append with the signature of the SGA, and the co-funding is available for the first pre-financing following the signature of the SGA itself. So next question. That's an interesting question. Is it possible to change project spittings and content for proposal which has been already issued as indication of interest? The answer is definitely yes. The point is that you submitted us some indication of interest. The indication of interest will have been assessed, and you will receive recommendation on that. So modification will definitely be more than welcome to address the recommendation received, and also the information that you get today with the event. So this new version of the indication of interest indeed will be the IP template that you are asked to submit to us. So the first one to be provided by the 13th of November. Next question. So how do you intend to cluster military projects? The point is that there will not be a military cluster or military clusters. We intend to organize the action in compliance with the deployment program structure. So this is the answer that we can get now, and will be provided to rationalize the number of proposals. And it will be also depending on the IP template that we will receive in the next future, but there will not be a separate cluster for military projects at this stage. Next question. Do military have to deliver the proposal through IDA? I assume that we have to consider, of course, the role of IDA as coordinator, military coordinator. However, in the framework of CEF funding, The proposal have to be submitted through the coordinator of the FPA, which is the CESAR deployment manager. Next question. How can SDM propose merging IPs on one hand, but then state that multinational projects must be subdivided and submitted through each member state? The point is that the question is opening a different understanding. The projects are not submitted through each member state. The projects are submitted through SDM to INEA. What the member states are called to do is to endorse the relevant part of the action. I mean, this is the role they have. It will not be the member state to submit the proposal. There will be all the implementing partners coordinated by the SDM submitting to INEA and with the endorsement of the relevant member states. Until when can projects request funding? At this stage, the information that we have is that the project for which the eligibility starts with normally the signature of the SGA, but can be anticipated up to the submission of proposal, has to close by 31st December 2020. So not 2020 first, that's 2020 as an ending date. So I think that is the last question. That's correct.
Paola was waiting for the last question. Actually, it was no question coming from the technology. I'm sorry, yeah, but we will answer to any questions by writing. Let me try to conclude this event. Short enough, or depending on the perspective, long, too long. It was complex, as I anticipated to you, but first, before concluding, let me really thank the European Commission, specifically the DG Move, for the increasing support to us, but also the increasing trust they have on us. Let me thank all the stakeholders cooperating with us. I would say stakeholders in order not to forget someone or some institutions or body. But of course, it's more important for me to thank all of you for coming here, to have been listening to us, to follow us concretely, sharply. We receive really an important numbers of questions. But before I forget, let me also send a special thanks to the people following us on streaming for the first time for us. And a special, very special, warm greetings to the ones who are still watching us on the streaming. After the success call of 2014, let me say we all are on a good track to take the call 2015 be another success. To sum up what we have been talking and what we have received as questions for this morning, this afternoon, actually, the deployment manager, let me say, is in place and is ready to fully play its role. We don't want to let anybody down. We will never give up. We will continue to support industry. We will work with industry, and we will always support industry. The deployment program 2015 has been delivered, providing policy level with the necessary guidance for the call 2015. This is so crucial for you to really understand, but I see from the questions received, you fully understood. Now, we are, as you know, we are at the second level of the governance of the deployment, so we have been looking to the policy level We provide them with all the guidance they need to really rule the call 2015. Now we have to turn our heads towards you at the third level of the governance. And with you in the implementation level, we have to deliver the best proposal to move on the pilot common project implementation. Of course, we still have some, as you have been listening by Paola and Maria Grazia, but by Paola especially because there is administrative burden over there, some steps to go in complex technical financial environment. And I would like, and sorry to be a little bit boring, but I believe it's my role. Don't hesitate to ask for our support for any good reasons. Any question will be addressed, any request of support will be addressed. Give us only the time to be compliant with all of you. And we had not the chance to answer to our military colleagues and friends, so I would like to take the chance in my conclusion to address some of the questions we receive over there. Let me recall that military stakeholders are eligible to co-funding for the purpose of the pilot common project implementation. The deployment manager is prepared to handle and clusters also civil, military, and military projects. Such projects will also require states' endorsement. And of course, talking about military, we presume it's needed the common endorsement by the Ministry of Transportation and Defense Ministries. So, as the time is so tight, my main message to military colleagues is to be prepared and to anticipate any national connections, to get prepared to get the endorsement. Hope this preview has been useful in preparing us to successfully work together. I'm sure of it. In particular, the next 3-4 months will be very full of meetings, calls, questions, answers, working groups, and all is dealing with the good results of the call. But given the numbers of questions we receive, we are talking about more than 100 till now, and the detail of the questions received, I feel your readiness and willingness to start this working together. And let me say, since we are talking about teaming together, I would like to call all my team on the stage, because when we see the deployment manager, you have to talk. You have on the phone, in a meeting, looking in the face, people walking with you. So I would like to invite, come on guys. Yes, don't be shy. Nicola first. I would like to call also all the team present into the room to come on the stage. We have some experts, some people working at the deployment manager with us. Please, all the people working for DM in the room, please come up on the stage. This is everything is about, all about the CESAR deployment manager. Persons, people, heart, bones, skins. People having your own experience. People having your backgrounds. People who is the best positioned to answer your question, to support you. Us and you are CESAR. Us and you are really designing the success of the CESAR deployment, and let's use our logo, our slogan. Please, let's deliver together. Thank you very much. Sorry, there's no wine testing at the end of the day, so you are free to go. Thank you very much again for coming out. Thank you very much.